I'm a huge fan of Coach Greg, but as a chef, I've always hated protein powder and people who eat only the egg whites and throw away the yolk. Horns up and welcome to Headbanger's Kitchen. And today I'm going to be doing my first ever cookbook review, which is why I thought it was important to let you know that I am a cookbook author. And this is my first original cookbook that came out last year. It's got 100 of my best recipes for anyone who's interested in doing the keto diet. And I've also been involved in this cookbook, which I contributed 30 recipes to and photos as well. I did the photography for this book. And prior to that, I was even involved in making this cookbook. So I think it's safe to say I have a little experience when it comes to cookbooks. So today we are going to be reviewing the Ultimate Anabolic Cookbook by Greg Doucette, Masters in Kinesiology IFBB Pro. Now if you don't know who Greg Doucette is, well, have you been living under a rock? Because if you watch anything to do with YouTube fitness, you would know who he is. Well, Greg is an IFBB Pro bodybuilder. He is also the author of the Anabolic Cookbook. He is basically a YouTube personality, and in the last year he has soared. His popularity has just skyrocketed and he is one of the most talked about fitness YouTubers today. So what's the deal with this cookbook? Well, this is the food that Greg himself personally eats to stay in shape. He swears by this cookbook and he promotes it harder than last time. And this is basically what he recommends to anyone who wants to lose weight and stay in shape, to eat food that he considers to be amazing, delicious, and a diet that you can actually stick to. Now, there is a little bit of a catch here though. This cookbook costs $99. Yes, this is probably the most expensive cookbook that I have ever heard of, but Greg believes very firmly that this is worth the price tag. And I mean, why wouldn't he? It's his cookbook, it's the food he eats, and he basically lives by this book. Now, $99 is a lot of money for a cookbook, and I'm sure a lot of people would think twice before putting down that kind of money. Which is why I thought it would be great if I did a proper unbiased review of the cookbook, so you know what to expect when you're buying it. Are the recipes actually good? Do they live up to the hype? So I'm going to actually taste test a couple of recipes. I'm going to make them, I'm going to taste them, I'm going to go through the cookbook, I'm going to give you an overview of what to expect, and then give you my final verdict of whether or not it's worth the $100. And I can already hear Coach Greg shouting, "It's worth much more!" So anyway, enough jibber jabber. It's time to review that cookbook. Alright guys, so I'm on Greg's website right now and I'm about to purchase the cookbook. Alright guys, I did it. I ordered the cookbook and I immediately got an email with a link to download the book. Now once you buy the book, you get 10 downloads, which I'm assuming means you can download the book just 10 times. So if you download it on different devices, you got to make sure that you do it within 10 tries, because after that I think you can't download it anymore. So yeah, just something that I thought I'd let you guys know. 10 downloads once you buy the book. Okay, so I had a chance to spend some time with the book and go through all the recipes, and I've made my notes, and now let's see what $99 buys you. So you get 59 recipes across 7 categories, that is breakfast, sandwiches, wraps, dinner, snacks, desserts, and shakes. Now the first thing I noticed when I opened the book was there are no photographs of the food. Zero pictures. Greg, a cookbook without photographs of the food is like Coach Greg without anabolic French toast in his life. It's like Greg O'Gallagher without intermittent fasting. It's like Will Tennyson without his dog Ollie. It's not right. It's just, a cookbook needs to have pictures, not just to look pretty, but those pictures motivate you to eat the food. It's what creates the desire to cook and to get in the kitchen and make that dish. And I genuinely feel that, like, this is one thing that I was like, oh man, I'm so hoping there are pictures in the book, because I did see somebody else's review of the training book and they said there were no pictures, and I was really hoping that this book would have pictures. So for $99 you get a cookbook without pictures. you get Coach Greg's inspirational quotes. Yep, they are scattered throughout the book, different quotes from Greg to motivate you and inspire you. But there is one quote that did leave me a bit worried, which says, "I am not a chef, neither am I a pyromaniac," something like that. And that was a little worrying that, I'm going through a cookbook by somebody who considers themselves to not be a chef. So, but yeah, otherwise they're pretty motivational. And yeah, Coach Greg really hates peanut butter and he really loves PB2. You also get links to order all the products that Coach Greg uses in the cookbook. The recipes in this cookbook rely very heavily on pre-made food and packaged products. So different kinds of flatbreads, different kinds of protein powder, PB2 for example, different kind of sweetening syrups. So all these products, there are links to order them in the book as well. So you get that. You get the complete nutritional information of all the recipes along with an FAQ which is fairly detailed and a nutritional table for fruits, vegetables and legumes. So if you are counting your macros or calories or whatever, you've got all the information at your fingertips. So that's a great feature in the book. Okay, so let's talk about the layout of the book now. It's very clean, it's very simple, looks almost like a cooking manual rather than a cookbook, which is fine because I know that Greg is all about the fitness. He's got training manuals, and I do believe that this aesthetic probably goes across all three of his books. So obviously I look at it as more of an artistic decision than it being geared up for, like, he wanted to put it out as a cookbook. So it's a clean layout, you have no problem reading, nothing, it's all great, the font size is good, all that stuff is thumbs up. Now let's talk about the recipes themselves. Like I said, Greg relies heavily on a lot of pre-made foods and packaged products, so the recipes are super simple. It's not complicated, it does not involve a lot of steps, and they're not very time consuming. So that's what the book promises, and on that front it seems to deliver quick and fairly easy to make recipes. And the book also delivers a decent number of vegetarian and vegan options, and Greg's FAQ very clearly explains how you can make substitutions so that even if you like a particular recipe but it's got meat and you feel like substituting it, you will know how to do that. And finally, I just want to say two things about the recipes that I noticed. One is that the recipes were a bit open-ended. Now, what do I mean by that? So for example, in the hamburger recipe, Greg says put 1 serving of vegetables. Now, while that's great for somebody who's familiar in the kitchen, who has cooking experience, a lot of people would want to know what vegetables to use. And while a hamburger recipe is quite obvious that you might put lettuce, onion, tomato, I feel it's the responsibility of the cookbook author to give their recommendations. And of course, you can leave a note saying that you can swap out the vegetables. But I do feel that Greg should have added that to the cookbook, like even in terms of seasoning, say the chicken or the beef. I feel he could have done a lot more by suggesting flavors that maybe even he uses on a daily basis, which gives people an idea. So for example, if I'm cooking beef for a wrap, it would have helped if Greg said, look, use salt, pepper, chili flakes and dried oregano because this is what I use, but you can use any seasoning you like, which is how I would have put it out. So just that was something I noticed, and I thought that might leave a few people struggling when they're trying to sort of think of what to do over there. So it would have been helpful had he sort of given exact spices and sort of instructions. And finally, overall, I thought that the recipes and the flavors in the cookbook were a touch limited. Because you see, the breakfast section, for example, has only 5 recipes, from which 1 is a French toast and 4 are pancake variations, which is quite limiting. Similarly, in the dinner section, which is just 8 recipes, most of it is pasta and the rest of it is pizza. Also the snacks, it's mostly protein bars and cookies. So while these are great foods and people might really enjoy these recipes, it does sort of not give you a lot of variety. So it is a bit limiting in that sense. Is this enough? That's up to you to decide. But I just thought it was a bit limited in the context of the cookbook. Alright, so I hope that gave you a clearer picture of what you're going to get when you buy Greg's cookbook. Now it's time to try some of the recipes in the cookbook. I'm going to try the anabolic French toast, the hamburger, and the lava cake. Largely, I am restricted because I don't keep protein powder at home. I have no PB2. I don't have access to all these low calorie wraps. And I thought these three sort of covered the spectrum of the recipes. So yeah, let's start to cook and taste. Hey guys, so I made the anabolic French toast and I just made the plain version, and thanks to some fans of Headbangers Kitchen I got some low calorie syrup that I could use because you don't really get that stuff here in India. But anyway, it's time for me to taste the French toast, the famous French toast, the anabolic French toast. Anyway, let me dig in. I mean, it's French toast. There's nothing wrong with it. It's French toast. If you like French toast, you'll like this, I guess. Okay, so what do I think about the anabolic French toast? Well, I got to be honest, for starters, I'm not the biggest fan of French toast in general. Like, if you gave me an option for breakfast, French toast would not really be high up on that list. Having said that, this is not bad. I generally don't like sweet things for breakfast, so to me this tastes more like dessert. But it's not a bad tasting French toast. Is it the best tasting French toast I've eaten? No, I mean look, French toast tastes good because of the actual sugar in the syrup. Sugar free has a taste. I mean, you have to get used to that sugar free taste to really enjoy it. Again, it's not bad, but it's just sugar free. The egg yolks always add a delicious richness to French toast, which again, is a compromise. But look, I can see why people like this. I can see why people want to eat this. Like, people like sweet things, and this, I guess, gives you, the protein and the macros you want. But yeah, so I think it's a good start to the cookbook. I mean, this was easy to make and it's fairly enjoyable to eat. And I do imagine if you put some fruits on this, it will be much better. But yeah, not bad. I'm going to go and finish this now. Alright guys, I'm going to now taste the hamburger recipe from the book. And this is pretty much like a normal burger. The only difference is, instead of a burger bun, which is high calorie, it's been swapped out for bread. No condiments like mayo, butter, etc., which add fat. No cheese. I mean, honestly, a burger recipe is, I mean, it's a burger recipe. I mean, how wrong can you go with this? You can't go wrong with this. Whoops, I dropped something, but let me taste. So, what's the final verdict? Well, I definitely give the recipe a thumbs up because it tastes pretty good. Is it the best burger I've eaten? Probably not, but I guess the whole idea here is not to make the tastiest food, just to make it tasty enough. And in that respect, this definitely hits the check boxes. And yeah, I will give this recipe the thumbs up. Okay, so I just made the protein chocolate lava cake, and full disclosure, I had no protein powder at home, but I thought, I have some collagen peptides which has 10 grams of protein per scoop, so maybe that will work. So I did try it. I don't think it's come out correctly, but I'm going to taste it any which way. Oh, that was so bad. Oh, okay. I don't know how much the protein powder changes. Okay, I don't even. Okay, so that disgusting mess is completely on me, since I did not follow the recipe exactly from the cookbook. I didn't have protein powder. I tried to swap it out with collagen peptides, and it was a hot mess. But I think I have enough information now that I need to be able to make a sort of judgment on what I think of the book and the recipes. Obviously, it's impossible for me to try all of them, but having gone through 3 of these recipes and having some success and failures as well, I think it's time for me to give you my verdict. Alright folks, so it's time for my final thoughts and to answer the question, is the cookbook worth the $99? So for starters, I think that the book pretty much delivers everything that it promises. Quick and easy recipes, Greg's favorite foods made healthy, and food that tastes good. Except for that last protein cake, which is completely my fault. I'm sure the actual version tastes good, but nonetheless, I think the book delivers on most of its promises. And of course, I definitely think that you can lose weight eating from this cookbook and following Greg's advice in general. I mean, he is Greg Doucette after all, IFBB Pro Masters in Kinesiology. So is the cookbook worth the $99? Well, the answer is yes, and the answer is no. Let's talk about why it may not be worth the $100, and then we'll get to why it might be worth the $100. Okay, so if you have absolutely no idea who Coach Greg is, then definitely this book is not worth the $99 for you. It makes no sense to buy a cookbook of somebody you have no idea about. But I do recommend you go and check out Coach Greg's YouTube channel and subscribe. Another reason this might not be worth $99 to you is if you don't like these kind of foods. Me personally, yeah, I can't imagine eating these kind of foods for the rest of my life. I need more spice in my life. I need more fat. I need more tasty food. Not that these foods are not good, but they're just not up my alley, if you know what I mean. So if that's kind of where you're coming from, definitely not worth the $99. And finally, why it may not be worth $99 is because there are cheaper books on the market which will help you lose weight just as easily. Now I'm sure Coach Greg and I can agree on this because he says it. Calories in versus calories out. If you eat in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. And for that, you don't need this specific book. There are cheaper books on the market. And for example, my cookbook, $25, and you can lose weight just as easily eating from that, as long as you eat in a calorie deficit. And Coach Greg says this, there is no magic formula. It's calories in versus calories out. So if you found another book that works for you, well, $99 is a bit of a high price then for this one. And now here are my reasons why it's worth the $99. Well, if you are a fan of Coach Greg, this is the best way to support him. I don't feel like I wasted my $99 because I am a fan of Coach Greg and this was a great way to support him. As far as I know, Coach Greg doesn't have something like a Patreon where fans can give money every month to support a YouTuber or a content creator. I myself have one, and I've had patrons who've given over $1,000 across the course of 1 or 2 or 3 years. So in that respect, $99 to support a creator you love is not really a big amount, and this is a one-time sort of buy. So if you are a fan of Coach Greg, definitely worth it. Also, if you enjoy these foods, if you love protein bars, protein shakes, protein cookies, anabolic wraps, anabolic hamburgers, anabolic French toast, anabolic pancakes, if this is the food you love, then definitely it's worth it. Pick it up. And finally, if you can't afford Coach Greg's personalized training because it is expensive, then well, this cookbook is the next best thing because this is literally his diet plan. So those are my reasons why you may or may not find this cookbook worth the money. But you know what, if you've purchased it, leave your testimonial below so people know why you like the book, how it's benefited you. And if you bought it and you didn't feel it was worth it, leave a comment below as well. I'll leave it up to you guys to decide. Honestly, something like this, it boils down to your personal sort of desire. Like for me, I want flavors, I want spices, I want Indian curries, I want Greek food, I want Italian food. I'm a chef. I love to experiment with food. So for me, a cookbook like this doesn't really make sense, you know. And like I said, calories in, calories out, like Coach Greg said, calories in, calories out. I would rather make a diet plan that is more enjoyable to me personally, probably less artificial sweeteners, probably no protein powder, and probably whole eggs. But anyway, that's enough jibber jabber. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please smash that like button. So till the next episode, cheers and keep eating.